Welcome to Tier 1 Esports. Don't adjust your browser or phones, people! SpaceCanadaTV has invaded the channel to do some Platoon highlights for Tier 1. I'm Dragon King Soup, your streamer in command this evening, as we told Ender to take the night off, though he's probably watching. This is the new battlefield, and it deserves a new approach on how we should approach player highlights. SpaceCanadaTV will be using a spotlight on raw gameplay from separate platoons as they learn the ins and outs of the new battlefield. First up is the platoon BSR5 or Bitchslap. Rumple 5skin brought me into competitive battlefield scene with this group, as well as SpaceCanadaTV covering it. So it's only fitting that he be the first victim, I mean honored guest, to have his platoon highlighted. During this stream, you'll be seeing the following members of BSR5. Jimmy Slayer 420, the Lonely Goblin King, Under Elbow, Mow Down 100, No Emotions 2335, which may be here later if it's not yet already, David Camacho PR. A lot of them couldn't really make it today because it is the day before Thanksgiving in the United States. But without any further delay, let's hand this over to Super Evil Pop-Tarts and executive producer Taku and the Fail Kitty. Pop-Tarts?
Thank you, Dragon King Soup. Welcome, viewers. My name is Super Evil Pop-Tarts, and today we're watching some Battlefield 5, and with me today is Rumple 5skin from BSR5. Introduce yourself to the viewers, Rumple.
Hi guys, thanks for having me on, Pop-Tarts, mate. I'm the General of BSR5 and we've been active for about 8 months or so now. Looking forward to the upcoming season that we've got going on with Tier 1.
Alright, well, why did you start your platoon in the first place, getting into the competitive scene?
Well, see, in the early days, it was just a few of us, just a few friends, just chilling, having a good time in public lobbies. From there, we gained a few more guys, you see, and we decided to have a game with a couple of platoons, see what's what. And got a bit of a taste for it, and then here we are.
Well, tell us all about BSR5 and what you guys are up to.
Well, the BSR5, we're all about a sense of community. You know, we like to get on, chill with the lads. Just have a nice, chill atmosphere after work, because at the end of the day, it's still a game, regardless of how competitive we're trying to take it. So we do nice to keep that atmosphere nice and relaxed, positive. You know what I mean? A constructive environment. Other than that, it's just about playing the clash of playing, doing that bit to support your team. You know what I mean? You go there, you represent for your boys, and you just do what you can.
Yeah, that sense of community, is that what basically keeps the core group of players together?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's 100% the sense of community that keeps us together there. It's just incredible how getting a group of lads together from different parts of the world, you know what I mean, all the way across oceans, and they're brought together by like this bond over Battlefield. And it's just really great, man, to have that not only as a competitive team, but the community aspect there as well. For myself also, it really does help my motivation just to keep going and keep doing it. For all the friends I've made along the way, it's just keep it doing for them. You know what I mean? I want them to have a good time, and I want to just keep going for that kind of thing. Really do like that sense of community.
Yeah, besides, Battlefield, of course, are there other games that your core group or your group in general plays together?
Yeah, there is a few games we play together. We have a section on the Discord server that we like to use. A few of the games might be such as GTA 5, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Zombies. I think a few of the guys have got the new Zombies as well. They like to have a game on that. You know what I mean? It's got that the blackout mode as well that they're into. I believe that's what it's called. Yeah, it's like at any sport. You can't just keep going hard at one game. You do need to have that time to relax and just get some downtime doing other things. You know what I mean? It's all about that enjoyment, really. That's the main benefit I get from this group, is just being able to enjoy my gaming to that next level. It seems that I can get the full out of my online games now, regardless of if it's Battlefield or other ones.
Yeah, decompressing and having a good time too. So when it comes to keeping all your players in your group together, how do you do that? What do you use to keep you all on one page?
Use the Discord as just as much for the social, for keeping the games other than Battlefield, keeping some tabs on that. Who's wanting to get a game on, say Red Dead, for example. But as much as it's useful for social, it's just as useful, if not needed, for the organisation of setting up matches. It allows me to have a group where they'll register to the chat if they're able to play. So that doesn't mean I'm expecting everyone to play every week. I'm able to, from the group of lads I've got available, choose who wants to come in and have the game on that weekend.
Is that how like other platoons would like organize their leagues and also their matches? Is that like a big thing that you think they all use?
Yeah, most definitely is. If it wasn't for Discords, we would have been dead in the water, to be perfectly honest with you. There's a server on there called Battlefield Big Wars that we used. Really good opportunity to be able to be invited to that. Allowed us to just grow our networks and see what other platoons are in there, find some guys that are our level and ones that are, you know what I mean, we can develop and grow alongside with. Great place. Also the owner of that server, Aslan Trooper, great guy. Without him, we wouldn't have been able to get where we were today, man. He really did he gets behind every platoon, new platoon in there. Even just anyone who needs help, man, and he's a great guy, man. Really did help us get where we were today.
Oh, he's a great guy. We've had him on SpaceCanadaTV. He's been in the booth with us a bunch of times. He's a great guy, really good. I think he cuts it. I think he doesn't think he does as much, and I keep telling him like, no man, you're doing bang up job. So, on today's stream, is there anyone on BSR Vive we should be keeping an eye on, especially in the coming months?
Well, see, with Battlefield, in my own opinion, especially with the game modes, we as BSR 5 are trying to play the T16 game modes, like Frontlines. It's too much of a team sport to really give that spotlight, you know, that limelight to just that one player. It's much more important to highlight the whole team and how they're doing, like not just the skill players, but also the players in the background that are throwing them the heels, holding positions down, calling flanks. You know, just doing all the hard nitty-gritty work to help promote those ones that are going to be getting them big kills.
So how do you, as being the big boss, how do you play Battlefield? And I know Battlefield 5 just came out, but like, let's take it in terms of Battlefield 1, so our viewers get at least a sense of like how you go about it when you're in the match.
Battlefield 1, it was all about that medic class, you know, the use of smokes and all that kind of thing. I used to just be running around with that syringe in hands, keeping everyone full of that magic life liquid juice.
Your own special brand of herbs and spices?
Certainly was, my friend, certainly was.
So I know that you know, Battlefield's just come out, and I know I believe you're telling me you would get the early access, and you've only had really your hands on it for about maybe a day and a half of gameplay. But what's your impression, however brief that you've had your hands on it, what's your impression so far of Battlefield 5?
It's definitely got potential. Definitely. I find there's been times on this game that do you know what I mean? You sort of just get completely lost in the moment. There's a way I wouldn't quite get as lost in Battlefield 1, but you get them complete moments where you're just like, oh my god, this is going off right now, innit? You know, completely like that. But then at the same time, it is a new game. There's always going to be teething problems, specifically with like the scale this game actually is. To have the turnaround that they're getting asked to do is a tall order, and in them few months from the beta until this, it's incredible what they did with it, and I can't wait to see what they do with it in the future in the upcoming updates.
Yeah. So when it comes to the changes, you know, besides, you know, the setting, we're going from World War I to World War II. What kind of changes that, when it comes to either mechanics, the classes themselves, guns, what do you like so far, and what others pose a challenge in the future?
One of the mechanics they've added, which I thought I was going to absolutely despise, was the medic revive, having to wait and not just have that instant quick pop. But I have to say, after playing with it and seeing with it in action after the release of the beta, incredible. I really like it. It just gives that, it's just long enough to make you think, but it's not too long to make it much of a hindrance. So I do like the fact they've added that in. It's much of a surprise. Although in contrast though to that, I would say the medic weapons I found wanting, in my opinion. Like the close range weapons, but I'm finding I'm getting bested by a lot of other weapons very close range with them. But it's like, that's the only thing they've got. At least give me that one, you know what I mean? But we'll see what comes.
How do you think some of these changes are going to affect competitive play once the season starts?
It's quite hard to tell at the moment. I'm still getting to grips with the whole new style of play. I feel it's going to be a lot more realistic with the way the guys are going to have to move and coordinate as squads, as much as having that suppressive fire line down, the use of smokes, use of moving cover to cover, all that kind of thing. I think it's going to be a lot more slow, methodical, thought out. Should be good anyway for the competitive viewing standpoint. Get to see these teams really grind out the point rather than just a big bull rush and then everyone's been cleared out.
All right, so BSR5, these guys have been around for about 8 months. Where did BSR5 cut its teeth when it came to be competitive play?
It was the 31st of March 2018 when BSR5, we went against Delta Alliance. It was just, we went into it thinking, oh yeah, we got this, like how good can they be? You know what I mean? We've already played one competitive match in Rush, or well, friendly competitive match, wasn't in the league or anything then, against the Tags team. We beat them quite well. Good win anyway, and then going on from that, we pumped the chests up then, we were sticking them out. Went into this fight and got completely annihilated, man. Like, fair dues. But it was that feeling of like going in from such a high to then hitting a low. It was like, I prefer it when it was a high, you know, like considerably more, and that was what motivated us to just go, let's just have it then, you know what I mean? As long as it takes, we'll just keep grinding there. So
it went from the one match where you're like, I got this, to the next match like, I don't have this. So
exactly, man.
Yeah, all right.
Exactly.
So if, say, some of like our viewers and stuff are watching and they're thinking about either joining a platoon or starting their own platoon, from your experience that you've got, what advice would you give them?
Main advice is just don't be thinking it's going to be easy. Like, it's easy to start one, it's easy to get a few matches, but to really find that consistency in that level, it's not something that's going to take a quick amount of time. Especially that bond with your players, like that's something that's going to grow over time. And when that gets strong, man, that's when you're really going to be reaping the rewards. And when you're going to be feeling like, you know what I mean, you just got something there. Like all the people are getting on, having fun, and you're going to go forward together. Like, it feels a lot better. Like you're getting the full potential out of that game, because you can get everyone getting in with it. So it's a great thing to do, to obviously start it for say your group of friends you're just playing in matches now, so you can get yourselves involved in the competitive scene like us. But at the same time, if you're not into that level of work, but you feel like you could be committed to a team, you know, to turn up for a few hours every week, maybe one weekend every couple of weeks or something, then definitely put in and apply to them platoons out there. So there's other platoons apart from us, but by all means, join us. By all means.
Yep. So when it comes to the teams that you've played and the leagues up through the months, which ones have you played, and which ones would you call your main rival? Basically your Liverpool versus, you know, Manchester United, you know, or your Cowboys versus Eagles, your Boston Red Sox versus the Yankees. What would you say is your main rival?
I'll have to say it was the foam community. Every match we played with them was just completely unpredictable. Well, one week we'll go in and win, next week we'll go in and get beaten. You know what I mean? Even during the games, they're a very unpredictable team in the way they can learn and adapt to everything. There's one of the matches that stood out between the two teams was can't remember exactly what number of matches it was that we had done at that point, but it was a great game. The first match we beat them quite well. Second map, they got pushed back, but then the last few points, the penny seems to have dropped for them, and they really did start pushing back then. And then from then we still won the map, but then from then it went to Amiens, And it really made fair credit where credit's due, man. It was an absolute fight, that last map. I was amazed, because normally when you play a team and you get a good win on them, that's normally how it goes from there on out. But with this team, it was like they just kept coming back at us, and they got stronger with every game that went on. And I believe the next time we played them after that, they just wiped us off the board. So that was when it was like, right, it's on now. We need to go do the same to them. So the rivalry kind of started after that for me.
I watched a couple of those. I think we streamed a bunch of those matches, and you know, they're quiet man / they live, you know, type alley fight scene type matches that you had with them, and there were great matches to watch. Now, Dragon King Soup, he's running the camera right now, and he's part of BSR5, and he doesn't play much competitive as he used to, due to, you know, work, real life work. But he talks a big game. I mean, a big game. Was he any good? Or is he just blowing smoke?
You know what they say, though, is without smoke there's fire, or whichever way that goes around, I forget. But either way, I did definitely feel a lot more confident having him in the team. He's got a really good voice for leadership. Good rallying voice. He can get the team in, focused on that objective, getting each man in that squad playing the role they need to play. And that's what it's about. You know what I mean? The guys need a leader regardless of the actual skill level of the guy, but not knocking his skill. Now, don't get me wrong, he can hold his own in most situations, but that guy is definitely a positional player, man. Great map knowledge the guy's got. Like, end of the day, after his voice for leadership, apart from that, getting his squad in, getting him in position, all he needs is a machine gun, a pack of smokes, and plenty of ammo, and that guy's got to go, man. Like, swear to God, he is good to go.
Yeah. Now, when you mentioned skill player versus a good position player, would you say you're basically saying he's a better position player versus being a better skill player?
Yeah, definitely. It would be. It's his map knowledge that tips the balance for me mainly. He just knows what to do. You know what I mean? He sees the way the game is moving. He knows where the cover is he needs to take to get his gun in that position, and he just gets there and unloads. Or even if he doesn't need to do that because no one's coming to that position, he's got a guard. He'll make as much noise as he can, and he'll draw as many men as he can in, and you'll just seal that trap, man. Definite positional player. Makes use of what's around him, that guy.
Now, when you mentioned skill players versus positional players, when it comes down to skill players versus positional players, how would you describe like each one, and is there a positive for each one of those type of players?
Yeah, for me, a skill player would be like the team's playmaker. Obviously, you would have maybe 1, 2, or the elite teams have loads of them. You know what I mean? But it's like a player who could have, so say you've got 3 men down in your squad, there's 1 man alive, and he's got 3 men closing in on him. It's the type of player that could drop 2 of them men and fall back to safety to regroup with his squad and then move on from there. And then, that's a skill player for me. But for a positional player, it's a guy that can use what's around him, know the flow of the game, and just use his position in that to just hold it for his team and dig in. Also, playing position might not mean the actual physical position, but say medic's class position would be to heal, to revive, same as supports to give ammo.
All right. Based on those definitions you just described, how would someone like me, and let's be honest, I'm a meh player at best, and you've seen me in action. It seems like from the few games that we've played and some of the streams that I've occasionally done where I'm playing the game. What advice would you give someone like me to up and improve my game, especially going into Battlefield, going from Battlefield 1 to Battlefield 5?
I'd say definitely focus to that use of cover and just finding a nice vantage point where you can see what's going on from. But before you engage, just have a little, just stop and think a second. Just creep over and take a peek if you're on a hill or up lying down somewhere. Just creep up a little bit and have a little look round. Prioritize the targets you've got to take. Who's going to be pressing you the most? Which one's going to be getting a bead on you? Who's going to be flanking you? All that kind of stuff. From there as well, if you're pushing around corners, just have a little peek around, map them positions in your head, and just decide which targets you're going to go through. Some situations are just going to be chaotic, and you're not going to be able to control the speed as much, and you're just going to have to just react the best you can. But at the same time, with those situations, the more you go into them situations, the more you're going to feel comfortable in them, and then that's when the magic's going to start happening, and you're just going to be like, oh my god, I just dropped 3 people then, what's going on?
Now, when you say going around corners and peeking, I've played a couple PvP games, and of course Battlefield 1, and I always, when I do that, I always get capped by a sniper constantly, and I mean, to me, it feels like I'm not doing the skill right, or I'm not skillful enough if I'm just getting easily picked off. I mean, am I doing something wrong?
For me personally, when I peek, obviously there's occasions I got my bum handed to me, you know what I mean? But for the most part, I do try and just like go really quickly and snap in and out, and just have like a mental still image in my brain to try and work out where to go from there. But of course, sometimes there's other options. If you can fall back a bit, or even from where you are, try and use the cover and concealment to move yourself to a better position where the enemy aren't going to be having the guns aimed, just so you can get that slight positional advantage on them, rather than coming into like the hottest point on the map where they're all looking and all expecting you.
So basically, happy feet.
Pretty much, man. Move it or lose it.
So I better start learning how to move like a butterfly, and don't get stung by a bee. So a while back, SpaceCanadaTV, we followed you. We saw a match you did where you pulled a move off that just stunned me and Dragon, and probably the team you were playing against, definitely. But it just we were agog and a loss for words. But it basically was dubbed the Kansas City Shuffle, and for our viewers who want to know, the Kansas City Shuffle is actually a con scheme, and basically it's one where the mark is basically aware that they're involved in a con, but they're also wrong on what the con artist is trying to deceive them on. And given that definition of it, how would you define it? How would you describe it, and how did you come up with that? I mean, if you could just describe that match.
If I was going to call it any name of a move, I'd just call it the BSR5 switch. But to describe exactly what happened is, we captured the C point bunker on Mount Grappa. So then that gives us the C flags to spawn off of. And knowing before the game that if I used that flag to spawn off as soon as we captured it, with the way the enemy team was down at the bottom of the hill, it would force our guys to all go up at the top and be closer to the objective than we ever could even dream of, trying to get out of it with all them waiting with the guns out. And as you and Dragon called out in the stream, they were all sitting out there waiting for us with the guns. And that's exactly what I didn't want to be running into. So I was like, well, 12 seconds to respawn and 1 death doesn't mean nothing to me if it means that I'm getting the whole team on an objective quickly. And fortunately, there was 3 points on that map we were able to get that particular thing happening, where it would switch us and get us closer to the spawn. And I was pretty fortunate that we knew about it beforehand, but could have went either way. I thought Phone might have knew about it themselves, as it was their map, but could have went either way, man. You know what I mean? But it's just a lucky call. You know what I mean? Simple as.
Yeah, I mean, you pulled that off not once, not twice, but 3 times. And before you pulled it off, I was there in the bunker with you. I was sitting there watching you at ground level, and you guys just disappeared. It was just amazing. And I said you couldn't have died. I didn't see the animation for your guy flying like a rag doll from being blown up. And then Dragon points out that you guys were already on the next point. It was just amazing. I mean, that was in front line. I believe that was in front lines, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It was in the front lines game mode, yeah.
Yeah. Why do you think it was so effective? Like, especially the fact that, the first time they're shocked, but the fact that you're able to pull it off 3 times.
I believe it's just because it's such a dynamic game mode, with there being no pause. But the pause of the objective actually unlocking does happen, but it doesn't stop the players from moving from one place to get set up on the next one. So if the attacking team's able to keep that pressure on that padlock, even like treat it as if the objective's active, even if it isn't, then they can either catch the team before they get set up, or just as they're about to get set up, they'll be hitting them, or just that pressure to keep going.
Do you think that could do you think that could work in any other game mode or any other map?
I don't think it would work too well, only with they're just less dynamic every time in rush as well as operations. The Battlefield 1 games have not actually got the rush in Battlefield 5, but in the Battlefield 1, the rush in operations, there's a pause after each push, so you've got to either wait for the sector to be cleared or wait for the enemy artillery to stop firing. So because of that, it doesn't make much difference because you can't pressure them that well, and the enemy does have those few seconds to get themselves in position and get the wits about them.
Alright, when you look back at you know, all the games that you've played and all the matches, is there any game that when you you've seen this, you looked at the stream afterward if it was streamed, or you just sit back and you're decompressing and you're thinking about the game and you just think back to it and you go, wow, my boys cleaned house? Is there any match that comes to mind where you were just amazed at how well your team did?
Certainly, yeah. It was the match against the 6-star Generals. Incredible game, man. Like, see, this is a team that I heard about before I'd ever even seen the tags in game. You know what I mean? Like that's like how prestigious they were to me. So to go out to even share a thing with them, that was you know what I mean? I felt quite honoured in that. But no, to go out against them, and I was expecting a complete bowl over. I was expecting them to come out and go at us. And I said to the boys, listen, like, we've got a chance of this, we're just fighting. Honestly, I was thinking, no man, I haven't got the heart to tell them like what's probably going to happen, like, so I just told them we could have it. And the guys went out and we didn't have it by any means, but we did put up a fight, man. Like, we did go down to the wire on one occasion, almost the wire on the first map, the Suez map. Hands down, mate, they tanked us on that, like, quite literally. They're like, not just a light anti-tank driver, don't get me wrong, his movement along with the whole team's is what took them there to that victory, as effective as it was. But that light anti-tank driver, man, like, credit where credit's due, he was amazing. But not to take away from the team at that victory at all, like, the way the infantry played that was a sight to behold, man. They did just destroy us on that map.
I mean, tank, you know, the matches that I've watched, you know, tank drivers in Battlefield 1 at least, you know, there was a couple I can count on my top of my hand that can really swing a game. So we've been watching the stream for a while, and you've seen the stream right now. Where do you think that you and your team can improve in this new game coming from Battlefield 1?
From the small parts I've managed to catch a glimpse of in that, I'd definitely say the spacing, the way they're moving on the battlefield and covering it, but that's just going to come through time and getting used to this new game mode. Yeah, see, what I've got high hopes for is seeing these games being streamed, because as complicated as I'm finding it, like in the hands of a master like yourself and Dragon, man, this is going to be some good looking footage. There's so many options on that thing. I was going through them just before, but no, I was struggling to use the thing, as bad as that sounds.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had a lot of practice, and I can't wait to get my hands on it myself. I've heard the options that are available for people who are spectating and streaming the matches.
Oh yeah. Besides
just a straight stream of the match, what you can do with highlights and such, and I can't wait to get my hands on it myself. You've been watching our stream for a while. What have you seen watching us that you would like to see highlighted in highlight streams during those streams itself? Anything specific?
For me personally, I just like seeing the way the teams both move and react to one another's gameplay. That's personally what I'm going to see. Well, that's what I like to see. Of course, POVs, to me, I don't really mind about seeing a bit of POVs, but understandably a lot of people are into that, so I'm not opposed to, you know, the odd POV. But definitely for me, I just love seeing how the teams respond and react to the way different groups within them teams push and, you know, fall back and all that kind of thing.
I mean, you know, one thing I learned through many streaming is, you know, to see those flanks develop, you really need to be outside to look at those flanks. This is all about tactics, with really when it comes down to the end of the day. You know, when I do POVs, I like to give, you know, those players that know that's being streamed, that know that they're getting the little spotlight shined on it, and they can like say to like, you know, their wives, their husbands, you know, their friends or the family, go, hey, look, that's me, we're doing that. That's what I did. I got that nice string going in. So I try to mix and match it there. So what we're trying to do is get a better balance of that. So why don't you tell us all about Tier 1 gaming?
Yeah, Tier 1 gaming. Well, only got into this for about 8 months. I was sorry, just got a bit of a phlegm in the throat there. Anyway, yeah, so we were just getting into it like that, and just like looking at the matches and seeing some sort of things, noticing some streams from Tier 1. And I was like, oh, Tier 1, that sounds alright, like, you know what I mean? So I did a bit of research into it, and I was like, oh, that's, you know what I mean, that seems like the place to be, you know what I mean? So since finding out about it, the idea was we're going to get ourselves ready. So I don't want to go in there and flop, I want to go in there and at least be able to hold our own against people. So we're going to get ourselves ready, and come Battlefield 5, we're going to be ready for it. And we're going to go for it like that. To describe what it is and that, I'm not sure like the American equivalent, but I'd say it was like kind of like the Premier League of football. It's just like that's the place to be. It's the amount of platoons it's got in there and that. It's got, you know, American platoons, African platoons, EU platoons. I believe there's even other areas I'm missing out on now, but it's just if you want to get in there and have them big battles, even the 32 conquests, it's, you know what I mean? I'm a more frontlines guy myself, but if you want it, it's got it, you know what I mean? Definitely them bigger game modes. Great place. Also, it's been around that long, I doubt it's going to go anywhere, you know what I mean? So if you think, oh, I don't want to get in a league and then find it disappears, like, cause I've just started to build my team, you can get in there and just sit in there solid, man.
Alright, well, I got some questions here that the chat kind of wants to direct it to you. What's your favorite gun in the new game?
Honestly, I've not actually used them that much, but the only one I've actually used is the first unlocked assault weapon, so I'm going to have to go with that one. I'm not even 100% sure on the name, so I don't want to call it out, but the first assault weapon you get is my favourite at the moment.
And is there anyone that you particularly hate? And again, you haven't unlocked everything, and I know from playing the game that it'll take a while to unlock all the weapons that are available for each class. But anything that sticks out in particular?
I'm not too keen on the medic weapons at close range, but the other ones seem pretty alright. I'm looking forward to unlocking the Thompson. Like, I've heard mixed reviews about it from the guys who have unlocked it already, but 50 round magazine coming for you. Can't wait for that, man. Can't wait for it.
Alright, same thing when it comes to favorites and hates, but this time when it comes to maps, any maps that really stick out as good maps, or any maps that sounds like it's going to be a thorn in your side, trying to figure out how to do tactics and such?
I believe it's that one big desert map. I find that, I forget the name, I believe it's that huge Africa map. It might be Hamada or something. I don't really remember the name too well, but it's definitely that one, man. I've not actually managed to last a full public game in it. It's a despised one. It's a hate, unfortunately. My favourite ones are any type of urban map. I feel really comfortable in, but no, that huge African map, man, really not my cup of tea.
I know that Battlefield 1, in operations at least, my despised map was
oh, that map was, yeah, I feel you on that, man.
Sniper's paradise. It's just, okay, let's go run and hopefully we'll get there and I won't get killed 50 million times.
Exactly what it was, man. The rage that map induced, mate, it was obscene.
Now, here's a question, and this is going back to the leaks that we, in the games that we streamed, and certain games where guns were banned for being too overpowered. Is there any gun right now that fits that description as too overpowered, and a gun that you can see that when league play starts, that being a banned weapon?
Not sure about a banned weapon because it is overpowered, but the support weapon mainly I would say was really overpowered. That's the main one I've been noticing killing me, but I think it's just as much as it being overpowered as it is being in the hands of people who are willing to use it in filthy ways. Like, people are willing to camp up in the weirdest part of the map and just do what they want with it. It's like, at least play the objective, man. What are you doing? Like, nah, I'm just going to get some kills here, you know, and he just sits there murdering. It's like, oh, that's heavy. But it's a powerful weapon, no doubt.
Kind of like from the Halo with the pistol, which was purposely overpowered before launch, and no one knew it until, you know, why use all the other weapons? This gun is all I need.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Any hidden gems? Again, you haven't unlocked everything, and I know it's a little bit hard to really point out anything that seems really good when you use it and when you fire it, but anything that's you can see people not understanding the beauty in it.
I've not even. I think I've got about 2 hours of gameplay so far, so I really can't comment on any of the hidden gems. Obviously, that I believe it's a C96, that support weapon I was talking about. I do use that myself. I'm not going to lie, I'm guilty of it. You know what I mean? It's a nice weapon. It does its job pretty well. You know what I mean?
Okay. Do you think when you see players gravitating towards, like, you know, do you see like any new weapons or maps that might return? Or any modes that you think players would gravitate towards over time?
Over time, obviously, I'd hope it'll be front lines, but I believe if it's a variable. It depends how things go. I think the front lines is going to go well if more players play the objective and start thinking about how their positioning on the map's going to help the guys on the actual guys fighting on the objective. Whether they're making a flank to cut round the back and seal the spawn off, or maybe I shouldn't say spawn camping, like, but you know what I mean, or just even go around and try and cause a flank from the backside, push into the objective, get the enemy to turn head so your guys from the front can push in, just bits like that. If the community players on the front line start playing this game and really getting into it, I think with being so dynamic, I think it's probably one of the nicest Battlefield modes to play, where you can literally be on the last line of defense ready to crumble, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere you found something in you and you just grinded through them few objectives and you keep going further and further forward, and it's like out of nowhere your team's just got this absolute fire underneath it. Like, if it comes out like that, I'd like to say, and I'd like to believe, front lines, but operations is what I'm hearing is the fan favourite. I've not actually played Conquest since being on this game, but I'd probably say operations would be the one, but hopefully front lines.
Mine was, you know, I played mostly for fun. And it's usually what you guys are Dragon and a couple of our guys that we have in our gaming group in Space Canada. I played mostly operations. You know, I have played Team Deathmatch. I have, this is for Battlefield 1, Team Deathmatch. I did play Conquest. I never played Rush. And I did play I did play Frontlines a couple before, like, the last season that passed in the league that we did matches for.
Yeah, you had a good game on Argon, didn't you, that one time? You were playing in wasn't that?
Yeah, well, put it this way. I was second place over Dragon. I was 22 and 22. He had like 75 kills and like 10 deaths or something. I still came in second.
You killed him as well, because I've seen that.
Oh yeah.
Right before it on Amiens, you murdered him in it. He came in that building and you straight took him out. Like, I remember seeing that.
Because I knew he was going there. I know
how
he
straight killed me. If he killed me in cold blood right in front of you, mate, and he just sat there going, "I'm gonna get him straight after me."
Oh no, he was gonna go straight. He was gonna go straight to the. He was gonna go straight to the corner, put his back against the wall, and just wait for dumb people to walk in, and he could just fall down. Does. I knew where he was gonna go. That's what he's like, man. Yeah, man. I knew where he was gonna go. But no, Frontline. So where was going? After watching so many matches and playing with these guys, and you know, this is one thing for new people who are looking to possibly get into Battlefield 5, especially if you're going into competitive. Friendly fire is turned off, so that means when you shoot, you got to make sure you're not shooting your own guys. In Battlefield 1, if you shot your own guys, I think you got banned for a couple minutes or something for killing your own people.
Battlefield 1, we actually tested it while we were waiting for the server to, well, not the server, but while we were waiting for the times to spawn in. We had that little mess around before the games. We were straight just like I just started murdering like troops and that, and then next thing you know, we're all fighting with knives, just killing each other. And I believe I believe we had about 3-4 guys get kicked after a good 5 minutes of just straight battering each other with these bludgeons and that. It was fun, man. It was fun.
We at SpaceCanadaTV like to call that a game of grab ass, but to the point. When I played the last match, I made sure that when I was shooting, none of you guys were in front of me. I'd watched so many matches that it was already ingrained in my play to make sure that when I shoot, none of my teammates were in front of me. So I was making sure I was firing on firing lines. And I think it was like one thing I asked. We had a person who came in one of her post games, and I asked her, did it take a transition period to going to like these PvP games where you can just shoot and not worry about killing your teammates, to going to then having to be cognizant and how easy it was to go from just shooting willy-nilly to, okay, my guy's in front of me, I've got to wait until I got a line of sight to shoot. Was that something difficult for you when you moved from doing it casually to going competitive?
For me personally, I didn't find, like, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't squeaky clean. I did probably get about 2 or 3 team kills throughout the whole time of doing it, but it wasn't for myself personally something too difficult. We did have the 1 or 2 players, and I wouldn't say I'm going to name Blast, but King Douglas, bro, if you're watching, you know it's you, mate. Like, straight, bro, you know it's you, mate. You're a bad one for it, mate. Funny, though, after the game, I will admit, man, you know what I mean? But
yes.
No, you do get the odd person who just, the finger just seems to be like clamps. They don't know how to release, but fair dues, man. It's a laugh afterwards, I'll give him that.
That's good. I've seen them, too. They're just bad. If you were to rate your squad now, and we'll work with Battlefield 5 here. If you were to rate them in the 3 tiers, where do you think BR5 would be right now?
I'd like to say the top third of the 2nd tier if they had 3.
Alright. You know, here, Dragon's asking, I know this is coming from Dragon. So, when Dragon unlocks the Bren gun, do you think he will make a return to form? He's been slacking. We've seen his stats. I beat him in 1. I came in 2nd. You came in 3rd. So, do you think he'll get back to being the feared dragon that he is?
We'll have to see, won't we? You'll have to be putting those 5 hours in every week to make sure he gets that amazing map knowledge back. Certainly will.
Yeah, I heard the Bren gun, which I think it came from, was it Battlefield 3? I don't remember which one. Where he said it's basically a broken gun, and it's just as broken, it seems, in Battlefield 5.
Oh, yeah. That's going to be his new Mazda, that one. It's literally like the big brother. It may not be related to the gun in general, but just the way it looks, that's definitely going to be his new Mazda with the banana clip sticking out of it like that, man. State of that thing, I did use it, to be fair. It was a good gun there, the Mazda, but that banana clip is a pain, man.
Oh, no. As a support
you into
class.
that?
Oh God, especially that last match we had on front lines. Oh, that is a sweet. You're my.
Oh yeah, it's a laughing weapon, like definitely a laughing weapon. But that banana clip, man, like, all you can see is a big. Well, I can't say that, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you can see waving around in front of your screen, mate.
You don't know. The Matson's my new Christmas boutique item for this year. Good, that's right. Get yourself a Matson machine gun. It's great, guys. It's beautiful. It's sweet. It's like butter, just butter. All right, so let's see.
Matson's a dead gun now, bro. Dead gun. It's all about that brand.
So, when EA gets their private servers up and running, they say they don't know when. They say it's going to happen.
We're waiting eagerly.
Don't know when. You know, they really need to get onto it, chop, because I need my fill. When they're up and running and the season starts and the wins and the losses, they count. Are you looking forward to that upcoming season?
Oh, I can't wait for it, man. Gives me a reason to really want to be playing hard in the week. I've been finding it hard to find that motivation to not run around like a headless chicken, you know what I mean? I am guilty of it, man. I do like doing a bit of that, but when we've got that focus of there's a match coming up this week, you know, that's when it's more like, right, this is real now. Let's get this training in. Let's get this just like down to muscle memory now, all the cover and all that kind of thing, getting to know the maps, and I just can't wait, man. It's my motivation to play this game and just keep playing it. It's that competitive nature to it, man.
Yeah, I can't wait till the season starts. I mean, I've been waiting for that for a while. Yeah, so I mean, it's is there anything that you know? Is there any thing that you want to put out in the stream where they can find you if they want to get in contact you? Any new players that might want to see about joining a platoon, specifically best BSR5? What do you got there that they can follow you in, where they can get in contact?
Yeah, we've got a Twitter page, and that's the @BSR5official. We've also got an Instagram page, which is @BSR5_official. You can either message Twitter, you can message on Instagram, you can find myself, Rumpel5skin3296 on PlayStation Network. We've got a few other people out and about recruiting, but yeah, definitely just drop us a message, see what's up. I'll give you the details, ask some questions, and we'll move from there.
All right. Okay. Basically, you know, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking forward to basically the game itself. There's probably going to be a lot of growing pains for Battlefield 5. It's those servers we want. I mean,
certainly is. Want them servers, man.
I need my fix. I really do. I mean, PvP and Destiny 2 only just gets you so far. This is where it's at, all tactics and stuff, and not just run around like a bunch of chickens with their head cut off. Dragon, here you at, my friend? Executive producer talking to Milk Kitty. She smells you. She smells fear. Are you hiding from us? Because basically, we looking forward to everything. Basically, I'm just looking at here. Taku the Failed Kitty has the most important question of all, Rumple. Are the grenades? Are the grenades exploding enough?
As well as grenades can be a problem, but then sometimes it's nice to have it. So I'm sitting on the fence with this one myself, but with the way the classes work at the moment, as far as I know, you can only get grenades from them ammo stations. I'm not sure if you can get them from the support box that they drop on the ground. I've not been able to get any more off it myself. But no, you're not getting too many grenades unless you actually make a conscious effort to do a nice run down somewhere.
Yeah, and I just saw some in the stream there. Jimmy was, I guess, he was building that support station. Where
yeah, he likes building things, that Jimmy, man. He's all about that building.
Yep, so, alright, I'm going to hand this off to Dragon King Soup. So, you know, viewers, I am from SpaceCanadaTV. You can find us on YouTube. And we also have a Discord and a Facebook page. This is called Space Canada. And our channel is SpaceCanadaTV. I'm going to hand it over to Dragon. So it's all yours, my friend. Me and executive producer Taku the Failed Kitty worked hard, and she requires knobs. So take it over.
Well, that concludes our stream for tonight. For those who have questions about SpaceCanadaTV, let us know on Tier 1 in the comments, or follow us on SpaceCanadaTV for more content other than Battlefield, including Evil Within 2, Destiny, and several other things. Our next platoon we are currently working with to do one of these platoon highlights will be 6-star generals, so keep an eye out on this channel as well as the Tier 1 Discord to keep an eye on when that's going to be. I'm personally in the middle of moving, so that time frame may be a little bit different and may not be every Wednesday like we hope to do this normally. Well, out with all good times, they have to come to an end. It's been a great first chance for here at T1 Gaming, learning a lot from Ender and the rest of them helping here on working with the other Battlefield communities and getting up all this stream. This is probably the best looking stream we've done on Space Canada. We've only used the PS4 streaming equipment before this, so it was good to use the Elgato we purchased and putting it to good use here. I would like to thank all the players who played. I'd like to thank all the people who commented, whether you were giving us some slight critiques, if you will, or not. Honestly, I say bring them on. I'm more than happy to deal with anybody who's got some got criticisms because you can only improve if people critique you. That's my theory on things. Also, I don't monetize because if you don't like it, well, at least you don't have to pay for it. At least that's me. That's what Space Canada does. Tier 1's a little different. So when I'm hosting it, you guys can message. If it starts getting out of hand, I will take it down, but I'm not going to normally. For more info on any other specific Tier 1 events or streams, videos, keep it here on Tier 1. There's going to be a highlight reel coming soon. People compiling a whole bunch of different people playing the game and putting it together. That's going to be the edited content, where this is the raw footage version in the opposite. I think, oh, wait, yeah, I think Ender's finally found the ball-peen hammer I may have left out there, and he's undoing the boards to the studio. So I've got to really wrap this up. So remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell, and hope you have a safe and enjoyable holidays. Thank you. Have a good one.